Hey guys, Trev from the Struggling Artist Podcast, and I want to talk to you real quick about Struggling Artist Record Club. The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk-adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to StrugglingArtistRecordClub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today.
You're listening to the Struggling Artist Podcast.
People need to be entertained. They need the distraction.
With your host, Trev Allen.
I wish to God that somebody would do something to block out the voices in my head for 5 minutes.
Hello, everybody. Today, we have guests from the past. John and Ben from the band. Well, they are in a band. We'll get to that later in the episode. But John and Ben from Geek Exploration Podcast have returned to talk about the third issue of their independent comic book that they created, Space Oddities. The Kickstarter campaign is going on right now. And I hope you go and support them after listening to the episode. Stick around to the end of the episode to hear a song from the legendary band Hammered Ink. That was their band back in the day, and they happened to find some music and they sent it over, and I said, "Oh yeah, we're playing a song." So stay tuned for that as well. And yeah, this was a lot of fun. I missed these guys, and it was good catching up. This is episode 284 of the Struggling Artist Podcast, Struggling with Space Oddities. With the Roadcaster that I have now, it's like, oh my God, like makes everything so much different.
You leveled up your equipment.
I had to, man. I felt like at that point, because like 4 years in, it's time, I guess, you know?
Yeah, you seem to be doing pretty well. Like, I mean, like you've got the game show coming out, you got the record club, you got all kinds of shit going on.
I have to. It's the key to all this, Ben, is you just got to be crazy. So
yeah, just commit to something nuts and fucking go for it.
When you're crazy, that means like you can't stop, right? You just got to keep doing things to keep you not crazy. So that's been the key to my quote unquote success. But you know, so how are you guys? It's been so long since we've actually like talked.
Yeah. We've been busy too, just not as a parent.
No,
not on anything, not anything creatively productive.
Well, you guys joined the cast of Gate Leapers, right? You guys are like part of the show now, you know? So Ben, you invited me on and never showed. That was awesome, you know?
Yeah. Some jerk was getting married, so I wasn't able to do that episode.
Muppets, that's right.
But it worked out really well because Dan took my place, and
it didn't work out well for me.
You and him it
didn't work out well for me. He beat me. So
yeah. Well, yeah. I lose most of the time in that game. That's kind of my shtick.
So I would have benefited from you being there. Yeah.
Yeah, you would have. Yeah. You almost certainly would have.
It was a lot of fun. You know, I actually do consider it a win because Dan played the bad guy role that night, and I actually I looked good for once and not just an asshole, So yeah, man, it's been a long time, man. I missed you guys. Apparently I missed a volume of Space Oddities. I didn't know you guys were on 3. So we'll have to get caught up on that too.
Yeah, that would be our fault with poor marketing.
So you guys came on in 2020, I believe, right? To talk about Space Oddities, right?
Yeah, I think that sounds right. Yeah. I think we were like the 8th or 9th episode of the relaunch, something like that.
Oh,
right.
Okay. Yeah.
It wasn't long after you'd relaunched.
Yeah. And I remember I was able to I contributed to the Kickstarter for myself and for the podcast, and then I was like, I'm gonna give this one away to someone like part of the Patreon, and like I did it finally like a month ago. I forgot I had it. I had it like I was like, I'm gonna store it like this so nothing happens to it. Nothing happened to it. I just forgot where I put it. So
nice. It's perfect. That person can go back to Kickstarter. It's like it just happened to them.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're excited. Everyone else forgot us.
Yeah. No one's forgotten you guys. Like Geek Exploration. I mean, you guys have been on hiatus with that for a while, right?
Yeah.
We come back. Everyone when we have something to say. Like it got hard to like feel like we had to have something to talk about every week. And especially, with like current geek stuff, like it was kind of a not a barren landscape, but not one that I was particularly enthused about.
That's part of it, right? We talk about what we like, Yeah,
I didn't want to come on every week and complain about Star Wars and the MCU. Like that's not interesting.
Yeah, because everyone else does that too, I guess, right? So.
Yeah. It's either that or they're filleting Disney. One of the two.
Well, I mean, yeah. So you guys, it's been a minute, like I said, and I'm happy you guys reached out for having me on Gate Leapers. That was that was awesome. Thank you. Thanks for thinking of me for the Muppets. I was really excited about that one.
Since 2020, I've had you on the list to do our show when we do the Muppets, and we never got around to doing it.
I remember we talked about it.
Said to do the Muppets. I was like, I know the fucking guy.
I appreciate that. And, and now we're here to talk about Space Oddities. Is it volume 3, right? Is it, do you call each one a volume or is it issue 3?
Like issue 3. More like issue 3.
Gotcha. So, tell me about how the first one went. Like you guys, because I mean, we talked about it before the Kickstarter was over last time, and it went, and obviously it got made. It looks fantastic. I've read it. It's a really good read. So did you guys have in mind doing more than just the one? Like, were you like, all right, we're gonna do like X amount of these, or was this something like you just wanted to try it out first, and then and went on from there?
Yeah, we've had this planned out as our first arc is 6 issues long. We've got the rough structure of the entire first story, the 6-issue arc. That's kind of our quote unquote movie. It's one complete story told in installments, and then from there we can tell more stories. But that's the beginning and the end of the beginning of the universe.
Ah, okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So
this is where the whole story starts. But, yeah.
When did issue 2 come out?
2022.
20 diggity something.
I think we did the Kickstarter at the end of 2021 because it was a year after the first Kickstarter.
Okay.
But we weren't quite as caught up as we were when we did the first one. And so it took a little longer to get out. So I don't think we actually got it out until April of 2022, if I recall correctly.
If even that soon. I think it may have even been later than April. But yeah, we went into it. I had a plan, and you know what happens when you have plans. So I had some health scares and got way backlogged. And then after filling that one and like going through the whole apologizing profusely to everyone all the time for being behind. I was a little burnt out. So it took a little bit to get back into the full swing. You know, I was picking away at issue 3 here and there for a long time before like work in earnest really fired up.
Are you better? You said you had a health scare. Are you doing all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah. I've got a health issues, but thankfully it's not cancer, which is what we thought it was at the time. That'll throw you for a loop.
Dude, not the sidebar of this, but like a year ago, I had something going on, and like, I don't know what a health scare is defined as, but I thought it was a health scare because they thought it was like some kind of blood infection, and then it turned out not to be anything like that. So, it was frightening. It was frightening. The older we get, the more of this stuff happens. I mean, just today, I not to be too candid with you guys, but you know I'm gonna be. Just today, I shit my pants. And
oh, nice.
Oh, man,
and it wasn't because of like drugs or alcohol. So I'm like, what the fuck, you know?
Just a fart gone wrong.
Yeah. So that's what happens when you get to your 40s, I guess. I don't know. I'm winging it still. You know, I'm trying to figure life out at 43, guys.
So far in my 40s, I haven't shit my pants, but I got like a good 3 under my belt in my 30s, so I know it's coming.
I don't know if I have a buddy and it's like it happens so often, like on New Year's Day, I shit my pants. It's gonna be a good year. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know if like this is just something that happens or what, but. Yeah, so it was quite the experience today, and I was like, oh my god. So I had like a little stomach issue going on like last night, and I thought I was good today. Turns out I wasn't, but I am now. And I showered just for you guys too. I didn't want to.
Oh, I appreciate it. You smell so nice.
I mean, you never know what to expect here.
Yeah, I've experienced enough that I know, like, if there's a chance I'm going to shit my pants, I'm not leaving the house.
Yeah. That's
like I want to shit my pants at home.
Yeah. I think that's the move, right? You don't want to do like I don't know, man. Like I said, my buddy would have a better understanding of when and where you want to go number 2 in your pants. But
yeah. I'm quick with the Imodium. I don't mess around. If I feel a little loose, that Imodium is going right down my throat.
There you go. Oh man. All right. So space out. So can we recap the second issue? So because I have no idea what happened. Because I didn't know it existed till recently. So.
Oh man, I would have sent you a copy of the second one. You could have read it.
I mean, I'll more than happy grab a copy of it from Al. I'll definitely purchase one from you. But yeah, can you recap where we left off, or do you want to? It's been so long. You want to just like kind of like talk about the story itself a little bit?
Yeah. So basically, it's it's a sci-fi comedy adventure story that centers around a guy named Jorge McSanchez and his buddy Dirk. They got a ship called the Aftosa, and they're basically,
procurers of rare antiquities.
Yeah. They're not like antique dealers, but like they're, when there's some artifact somewhere or something that somebody needs or something that was, stolen, that the people want back, like they're the guys they hire to go get it. And in this arc, they get a job. They go to get the thing. In the course of that, they end up getting a stowaway kind of new crew member that they weren't planning on, who gets them in a bunch of trouble because she's out looking for her mom who disappeared a while ago, looking for a fabled artifact that she wants her mom back, but these guys might be a bit more interested in the artifact once they learn about it, and hijinks ensue, essentially.
And that was that. Now this is the over arc for the whole thing, or is this just issue 1 where this is going on?
That's kind of the first 6 issue arc is
about
kind of
this
story.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and her looking for her mom, and it kind of goes through that arc and then resolves, and it kind of ends at a point where we can jump off and kind of do whatever kind of the crew will be solidified and they'll go off on whatever goofy adventures we want them to at that point.
Yeah, this first arc is definitely her story. She's the heart and the focal point of it. Even though that wasn't the plan initially, Jorge and Dirk were always our guys, and we're like, our female cast member went through a lot of different iterations over the years, because we first came up with this story idea probably about 20 years ago. It was going to be a cartoon proposal, and over the years we'd get together and be like, all right, let's do something with Space Oddities, let's do it. And like, Jorge and Dirk and another character named Woody always were always there in the forms that they are now. They were always solid, but the Jet character came to us more, well, I guess I can't say recently now, but in the most recent iteration.
Yeah.
And then she just presented us with the story that would propel them through their first little adventure together.
Does it? So I had a screenplay that I wrote years ago, and like it had like 5 main characters, and one of those characters, like he just was kind of like a background guy, But as I wrote the story, he grew to have his own identity, and I was super excited by like the time I realized it. You know what I mean? Does that happen when you guys are writing? Like say you're writing for Jet, and like as the time went on, and you guys kind of found that for her. Like, was it like, I don't know, was it exciting?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much exactly what happened. I was like, because we were kind of, like I said, for years, we were kind of like, okay, so who is she? Like for a while, before she was even named Jet, she was like a sentient hologram and this thing and that. And then we like kind of landed on this kind of iteration and started saying like, well, who is she? What, how does she get involved with the crew? And like, what is her story? And then as we were kind of fleshing out the first arc, we're like, just it kind of what we were, and I don't know if it was because she was new and fresh, as opposed to Dirk and Jorge, who we've been talking about for fucking 2 decades. But she just kind of took over, and it became she went from being kind of like the one we weren't sure about to the one that is the focus of the entire first 6-issue arc. And it was cool kind of fleshing it out as you went, because we didn't know what it was going to do, and kind of like we just come up with ideas and be like, oh, fucking that works here and that works there, and kind of putting it all together and be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is a good story. I like this.
And that was the thing, is like Jet gave us the opportunity to tell a story like this, because we knew Dirk and Jorge inside out. So it was almost like we couldn't make them the focal point. But we knew how they would react to everything. Mm-hmm. So we could send them on a journey already being fully developed characters in our brains, and then have them reacting to all this stuff that's actually happening in the story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice.
And I think it helped the storytelling too, because like John was saying, this was originally like a cartoon pitch back in like the heyday of Adult Swim. So, kind of like our thought of it was like this would fit in well with like Harvey Birdman or C-Lab or Aqua Teen, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And in that case, it's more of a serialized vehicle for jokes where, like those characters in those shows don't develop. They don't grow. Like they are who they are, and they don't need to change, because that's not the point of that kind of show.
Right.
And so that's kind of where they were in our head. And then Jet comes along and it's like, oh no, like she's 100% going to develop over this arc. And we can, these other characters can kind of grow as well with her. And it became more of it got a little bit more heart and a little bit more of a serious story to it than I think it would have if we had gone more the original route.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask this, because you said it was originally a cartoon pitch, right? Like, who do you know someone? How did you learn how to pitch a cartoon to somebody?
No, it was a prospective pitch.
Yeah.
I never actually sat down with anyone. Yeah. I had gone to Comic-Con in I was 19 years old, so probably 2001-ish, and 2002. And I sat in a panel for Adult Swim, and I just fell in love with the way that all the creators talked about their shows and how they all created them. And it was super inspiring to me. So then all of a sudden, I can't remember who exactly came up with the first character or the first sketch of anything. But Ben and I, got together and we're like, okay, let's do this. Let's create a cartoon pitch. This will be super cool. We love Adult Swim. And it didn't happen. I went to college for animation a couple of years after that, and I kept that in my mind. Like all my school projects and stuff, I've got just sheets and sheets of paper. I did like traditional animation intros and storyboard projects using it, but we never. I came back with an alcohol habit that was stronger than my work ethic. So.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we were a couple of like mid-20s stoners who had more hope than actual drive.
I kind of
we just kind of sat on it.
I feel like that happened. I feel like that's what the 20s are for, though. That's what I mean.
Right?
Like I feel like you're fun. You big hopes and no drive and a lot of fun and like get it all out kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, I got it out all right.
Oh, so all right. I also want to ask this in how much like life reflects in the art.
I personally feel like there is a little bit of myself in every single one of the characters, and so it's almost writing. With just a different voice or a different personality. I mean, I'm not, I don't have multiple personality. I don't know if it's called a disorder anymore.
It's okay if you did. We don't judge the struggling artist,
But Jorge is a big sweetheart, and that's something that I've always tried to be. And he's kind of a wuss. He's timid, and that's something I definitely am. I'm definitely a wuss. Dirk is the more brash, outspoken, the more of like the confidence that I wish I had.
Dirk is more teenage John.
Yeah. Back when I had balls. Every one of these characters I can relate to in some way. So it's very natural to write them for me.
Yeah, if only we had gone on actual space adventures that we could draw from. Not yet.
What about for you, Ben?
I was kind of the same thing. Like, I mean, I'm kind of put a bit of ourselves into the characters. I don't know if there's a lot of like the situation and stuff. For me, it's probably more my sense of humor that comes through, and goofy absurdism that really tickles me. That I think I dump into it more than. John's definitely the center of the heart section of the book.
Well, now, and this is again, I might be overthinking this, but because I know you guys, you all know a lot about a lot of things. I've talked to you guys multiple times. I've listened to you guys, on podcasts. Do you how much research into things so you have accuracy when it comes to things? Within the story, did you guys have
for the book?
Yeah, like
literally nothing.
Oh,
we threw accuracy out the window. Like, I mean, like we'll make references, but they're references that we are very comfortable with. Like, we don't need to look up, a quote from Indiana Jones that we want to throw in or something like that. If we wanted to do that, but as far as I had to make the conscious decision early on with this book because I am a hard sci-fi nerd. Like, I love, Star Trek and where there is.
Well, that's where I'm getting at. You know what I mean?
Bolts behind it. And so in my brain, I have a lot of stuff like, oh, this is how this would work in this, and then this is how this would work. Like when I first tried starting making like a Bible, like a project Bible, saying like, okay, here's the world, here's all the characters, here's how they relate, here's the stuff. And I remember spending like 2.5 hours trying to figure out how the calendar worked. And then I had to stop myself and be like, it doesn't fucking matter. It's a goofy fucking space adventure, dude. No one gives a shit how the calendar works, how they keep time across this galaxy. It doesn't matter. They'll just say tomorrow, and it's going to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what that means.
Okay. So you kind of threw it out the window, that side of it. And I think it makes sense, right? Because you're focusing on the adventure that they're having, like you said, right? But
Yeah,
I wonder, because I know you guys both love sci-fi. You know what I mean? So that's why I was like, wait, like how much would that go in? And I don't know anything about outer space other than I've never been there. So.
I'm 100% the kind of guy that sits and watches bad sci-fi with my wife, and she'll ask me to leave the room because I'll be like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I know people that are like that. And I'm in that. Yeah,
I am that guy. Yeah. So I had to consciously throw that out the window with this, and I think it's very apparent that that's not the point of this story. We're obviously not trying to be a hard sci-fi.
Yeah.
Scientific realist kind of place. Like Dirk's got a gun with a dial on it, or like a thing where he presses a button and a random effect happens.
Like, what do you mean? Like, what kind of effect?
It could turn into a traditional laser gun. It could be a size changing gun. It could be an ice blast.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It could be an energy net. I don't know.
It's basically
make you bloat. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a plot device gun.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Yeah, whatever we want it to.
But he doesn't have any choice on it. It's completely random. So like, I think I called it it's his blastomatic, but like in the little thing I put, like it's the Heisenberg uncertainty pistol. So like he presses the thing and, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And, occasionally it'll be good. Sometimes it'll probably not be something he needs.
Yeah. If he's trying to blast his way out of something and then it turns into like a bubble gun, then it's not going to do him much good.
Right.
Just
right.
as petunias.
Yeah. And it will do that.
Yes.
Yeah. That right there though, that's creating a part of the story structure, right? Like this dude, like his gun is gonna do whatever it does. I think I like that. Like that's something I don't know if that's something that just comes to our minds like just naturally, or like that is like that's pretty important to a structure of a story, right? So when you create a comic book, like what is the structure like? Like what has to go into the planning of that? You know what I mean? Like for arcing the story and everything.
I don't think we have an exact I know we don't actually have a physical like rubric, of things that need to happen, like the whole save the cat in a screenplay, like we don't break it down to, beats as far as like this needs to happen, but it's sort of like we try to have, some character development, some growth, some information progressing from the last issue. We try to have an action set piece, and then we just try to get as many gags in as we can. And to the point of something like the gun, we write on what we call sort of a why not philosophy, where it's just sort of like, if you need to fill in a gap with something, it can be as absurd as you want it to be. And it's just sort of like, why not? Why not? We don't have to worry about why this is happening. Like it's why not?
Right.
Why not?
As long as there's not a reason that it shouldn't be happening, that contradicts something or messes something up. If it's funny and it works towards moving the story forward, fuck it, let's go with it.
Yeah. So I mean, does stuff get left down like the cutting room floor, so to speak? Then.
Oh yeah. Right. Well, yeah, a ton of it, because the way we write together too is like we'll get together. Like we've got the basic skeleton for all 6 issues. Like here's all the things that are going to happen and all the important plot points. And then when it comes to, each issue, we'll get down and for the script where you decide, okay, here's the exact things that are going to happen. Here's all the dialogue. Here's everything that's going to say. Here's the gags, the jokes and stuff that go into it as well. We say, okay, well, here's what's going to happen in this issue. And then we both go our separate ways and we each write our own independent script.
Ooh.
So I'll write a script and he writes a script, and then we get back together and read each of our scripts together and like pick the best parts. So like literally 50% of the shit gets left on the cutting room floor.
That's a cool way to write.
It's interesting. And occasionally you get into, you butt heads every once in a while and say like, well, I really like this thing. And you're like, well, I really like my thing that, that happens at the same time, or is, we can only have one. You get in a Highlander situation here. One of us loses
then
our
I just get to tell Ben that I'm not going to draw what he tells me to. So I win.
Got the power of the pen.
I don't think that's happened yet. But
and usually we'll compromise. Like we're, be like, okay, it's very rarely does it come down to like, we're both super married to a conflict. It's like, well, I like this and you like this, or I'll see something John write and I go like, that's way fucking better than what I wrote.
Yeah.
That's what's going in. And it's,
or vice
it's
versa.
So
it's lots of stuff.
The screenplay I spoke about earlier, that was the first time I ever wrote with like a group of people. Well, it was three of us, and I didn't know how well I was going to like that because I write primarily alone, and it worked really well. And what happened was we kind of like all just stopped. So years later, I took it and I just finished it, and I gave it to the guys. I'm like, tell me what you think, and they were like, holy shit, like, good job, So I picked up where we left off and I finished it, and so and you guys have known each other forever, right? So I feel like
forever.
I feel like you know each other well enough, and maybe your creativeness, like when you guys have done stuff together, shows without even trying, right? When you're writing each other, when you're each writing the script.
Yeah. I think our sense of humor and our storytelling sensibilities meld pretty well. Like, we're not trying to jam Sophie's Choice in with Revenge of the Nerds or something and make a cohesive thing out of that. We're coming basically from the same direction, so it helps.
I know. How do we copyright that idea before somebody runs it?
Now, how often does like stuff that have influenced you guys, like within pop culture or geek culture or whatever, how often do you see like references in the writing of what you guys do? A lot, or
all the time? Without giving it away, even in the first 8-page little adventure, the cold open of the first issue, there's a couple Indiana Jones quotes, just thrown in there, just completely thrown away, and they're not like famous quotes. It's not like snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? But if you're looking and you're a fan, you'll catch them. We even discovered when we were talking on another podcast the other day about how it had to have been subconsciously we referenced Encino Man, like a quote from that.
That's awesome.
In one of them. So it's just, and I've realized with my wife, as we watch movies that I love, like how often we run into things where it's like, oh, you say that all the time, John. It's like I'm just like a walking movie quote machine. So of course that's going to get into the book.
It's funny. Growing up, my friends and I, like my high school friends, like that's all we did was talking movie quotes, and like a lot of people just didn't get it. So I thought no one else did that. But like as an adult, like I've found people who will say a movie quote, and I'll like reply to it, you know what I mean? Like, and they'll be like, oh, you know that, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of cool, and I think to have something like that in this book, in what you guys are doing, like it's almost like a wink to the reader, right? Especially if they get it.
Yeah, and we try not to be ham-fisted about it. Like I don't like. We don't want it, like it needs to fit with the story and what's going on and the things that are happening. And some of the stuff's just like background things, like one of the cars in the background will look kind of like an old Batmobile or something like that, where it's just like it's either inconsequential or if it's in the dialogue, like it fits. It's not like it got, we're trying, none of them are in there. So you'd be like, get it?
Right. Yeah. And if it is, it's probably because like you want that, right? That like, sometimes like you'll see that in a movie where basically they break the fourth wall. Like take a Deadpool movie, you know what I mean? Like literally looking at the camera and saying something, and then you know what I mean? Like that's what they're trying, but they're doing that I don't know, just they're doing that on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not trying to do it. Am I making sense? Am I just rambling?
Yeah. Like at the end of the first Deadpool movie, I think it was the first one, maybe the second one, when they like recreated the whole end of Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the hallway, like almost word for word, or like we don't go quite so far to make that happen.
Yeah, but I mean, for that, like that was the purpose of it, right? It was supposed to be ridiculous in that sense, where when you throw something in there that fits, it's a subtle nod and it's paying homage, I feel like.
Yeah. We try and hug the subtle nod line more often than not. If we're going to stick a reference in there. Because not all references age super well. So I think we try and, we don't want to be super topical on anything, obviously.
Right.
So that's all I could think of watching Deadpool and Wolverine. Just the whole NSYNC beginning. Well, I mean, I guess it's not even popular anymore. It just is to people of a certain age, like us and Ryan Reynolds. Where they're just like, oh, this is a great idea. And it's like, man, in 15 years, or Macy Gray in the first Spider-Man movie, it's like, this is not gonna be timeless.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even with the new Deadpool, like the entire movie is basically a commentary on the state of the MCU right now.
Yeah.
And in 10 years, it's not going to be relevant to anybody. But it was, it was fun enough right now. But I like you said, John, when we talked about it, like, I probably don't need to watch it again. Like, it did its job and it was fun, but it's not going to be on anyone's regular rotation. I don't know.
Oh no. And if it is, it's just like, it's that's a movie where I watched it alone, but like, that's a movie where like, I just want to watch it with some buddies and laugh. And like that, like, it's like an American Pie movie, or like old school.
Totally.
Like I remember I was watching Old School for the first time, and it was me and a bunch of buddies, and my aunt's boyfriend just happened to be there, and he was like laughing, and then he like went and rented it for them to watch, and he was like, it wasn't funny at all. Like watching it with my aunt as opposed to watching it with a bunch of college age guys who were just laughing, so
the number of times I've lamented the fact that I can't, or that my wife won't enjoy a movie the same way I do, really bums me out. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's top 3 for me, and she will never ever enjoy Pee-wee.
Yeah.
I just gotta get used to it.
It is what it is, right? Now, as so, like you said in the very beginning, like you have this overarching story this tale that you need to tell, and you don't have it all done word for word like right away, but you do have like a skeleton. You do have an outline for it, right? Has that ever changed? Like, have you guys gotten through, like, maybe you guys wrote an issue and you're like, this needs to change now?
Yes. So in a couple different ways. So there's been a couple times where we wrote something that we didn't realize contradicted what we had planned, and we're like, oh, well, I guess we got to change that. And then there's been more times where as we're kind of going through the iterative writing process, like, it gets better. And, we go, okay, so this is the thing that we had planned out was happening, but what if it was this instead? And it takes it in a slightly different direction. And you're like, okay, well, that means we got to abandon that thing, which I was kind of hoping for, but I think it makes the story better overall, because it's such a long process. Like it comes out one issue at a time, and, we're not doing this professionally. Like, this is a hobby, essentially.
Right.
It's a passion project. So, there's a lot of time between releases, and nothing's technically canon until it's on paper. Yeah. Like, until it's in print, it's flexible. And so if, in that time, we spend all this time thinking about it, be like, wait, hold on, we can make that better if we change this or move this forward. And I think the rest of the story keeps getting better the more we procrastinate on getting these issues out.
The slower I go, the better it gets.
Now, does and I know you said, like, it's not meant to be topical or whatever, but like, has anything like that's happened, in the crazy last 4 years that has like altered what you guys are writing?
No.
No, thankfully not. We didn't have anything like that wasn't hateful 4 years ago that is now in there that we had to be like, oh no.
Yeah. Well, I don't even mean that. Just like
everybody's standards of what is right and wrong have changed in the last 7 years.
I mean, it could also just be like perspective, right? Like, just your own perspective and like how a character is. You know what I mean? It might not have to be like something that's like, hate speech, or it doesn't have to be anything like that. And because I know you guys would never do that. So,
we try and keep it pretty friendly.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I know we have Superman's #1 fan over here. I know it's going to be clean. You know what I mean? So
I've tried to keep it as all ages friendly as I can, and my daughter, who's 10, was just reading our first 2 issues the other day, and she pointed out that in our first issue, we've got somebody says like it might be like "glog damn it" or something. I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. Like, that's one of the more tame words, but
yeah,
I was raised Mormon, so that wouldn't have been okay in my house. So
yeah,
I feel kind of bad at if there's any parents over time that I've said like, oh yeah, it's perfect for your kids. It just says butt stuff. You're fine.
It just says butt stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were raised Mormon.
Yeah.
So was comics like you could read comics and stuff? You were
totally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I held the more salacious like Image comics and stuff it out of the way of my parents' view. Superman and Batman were fine. X-Men were fine. Spider-Man's great, but like Gen 13 rolls around with like clothes almost blasting off and just barely covering nipples, and that stuff I didn't leave hanging around.
Yeah.
Witchblade or Red Sonja. Leave it on the coffee table for me. Fine. Vampirella.
Yeah.
I had a complex drawing women for years because when I was a little kid and I drew a picture of Supergirl, my mom was like, I don't like the idea of you drawing boobs, and it embarrassed me, so I didn't draw boobs for years.
Which really set our Kickstarters back, because man, the Kickstarters that focus on boobs do very well.
Yeah.
It's bonkers.
So how many comics have you guys made together? Is it just Space Oddities, or?
This is the first like full length comic book series. We worked together before on a book that we called Travels in Time that came out in a few. There were 3 installments of it in a anthology book with a bunch of Sacramento local artists. So we all did short stories, and it continued through 3 issues. But I think the first one was like 8 pages, second one was 6, I think, and the third one was 10 or 12. But this was the first full independent book that we did together.
Okay, that's awesome. So what do we have to look forward to in issue number 3? Can you tease any of that?
Yeah. There's so like I said, we'd like to have a good action set piece in each one, and this one's going to be a little special because we're going to have a sort of throwback sci-fi hero adventure. We're introducing another character from Jet's past, who's a space hero, and we're gonna sort of flash back and do a little retro adventure with that. And the crew is furthering their own journey. I don't know. It's all intertwined, but
yeah. So it's
gags, of course.
Yeah, it's got like it was basically the original idea was we'd do like a small vignette in the middle of it that tied back to this new character Ray Gunderson, who's the space adventurer, and it ties in. It will tie back into the main story as well, which is nice, because he used to travel with Jet's mom essentially.
Okay.
But we wanted to do like a pulpy kind of golden age comic throwback in the middle, and it was originally going to be like 5 pages or so, and then we did our script writing thing. And the one I came back with, like John looked at it and was like, this is 14 pages. And I was like, shit. It was like, well, that's too much. And then we circled back around to it after a while and decided, fuck it. We're independent creators. We're not bound by page counts or this or that. If it, we like it, it's 14 pages. Let's fucking do it anyway. So it's just a fun little interlude adventure in the middle. Because otherwise the main story didn't really have a lot of action going on. It was kind of just moving the plot forward.
Yeah, a lot of walk and talk. We did shorten our, or we adjusted where we were going to leave off this main story, because we wanted to get to an action set piece, but then the space hero story became the action set piece, and it's a big one. So
nice. This is awesome. Yeah. So after the 6 issues. Right, you said this is like what starts the universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys have more planned out?
We don't have anything planned on the boards per se. Like we actually we got like little like whiteboard boards and like chalk markers and stuff, and we've got these boards that sitting in Ben's garage that have the entire plot like written out onto them. It was a lot of fun. We don't have the second one plotted out yet now.
But we've got a lot of ideas. Like I've got thoughts on where it goes, but we haven't like set anything said like this is where it's going to go yet, because like we were saying, like as we've gone through this, it's kind of morphed and changed a bit. Like the general destination's been the same, but how they got there is different. So like there's a character that's been kind of teased in it, Emperor Beans, that we know in the next arc we're going to deal with him. We're kind of foreshadowing and dropping crumbs about him in this arc, and he will be a more primary focus of the next arc, whatever it is. And we've got a number of ideas on how that lands in that, but nothing's firm yet.
Now, I know you guys have done. You said you've done like little kind of one shot stuff before. Nothing like on this scale. What have you guys like? What has each of you learned from doing this project about comics in general, or about maybe your own like writing style, or John with like drawing? Are you drawing anything any differently than what you would normally would? You know what I mean? Does any of that play into this, or is it just business as usual?
To a degree, it's business as usual. I mean, I started working more digitally, doing the pencils digitally. I've discovered how much I actually love writing through this comic book, because I've never considered myself much of a writer over the my entire life. I just love to draw, but I've really enjoyed being a writer on this. I don't know. Other than that, like I feel like I've spent my entire life learning the process of making a comic book. So it's I don't know how much I'm learning as much as how much I'm appreciating what is coming from it. Because to hold an actual comic book that you've created, it's your baby. Hold it in your hands, like it's fucking slick. Oh, pardon me. Can I cuss? I can't.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
I have probably a dozen times already.
I just talked about shitting myself, John.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you can cuss.
But yeah, it's I don't know. Yeah, it's a joy. If I could just figure out how to work faster and like work through times when I maybe don't feel like working, but I need to, then that would be nice, but we'll see.
That comes with time, like take the podcasting stuff. I remember when in the beginning I was like, I'll do it when I can and this and that. And now I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm still doing it.
Yeah. You are doing it. That is it.
Ben, what about for you? Like with all this stuff?
I mean, it definitely it made me more comfortable with writing. I hadn't done a huge amount of writing. I've done a lot of brainstorming and idea stuff. John and I always did a lot of like, hey, let's come up with this. Like here's some funny things that would be neat to make, and this is definitely kind of solidified or helped bolster, I guess, my confidence in my ability to actually write things. And it's something like I keep telling myself, like, oh, because I've got a couple other projects that I'd like to do some stuff on, but haven't, I've started a little bit here and there, and I feel more confident with it, but I still just haven't, sit down and say like, all right, I'm going to do this. And then on the comic creation side, like I've learned quite a bit because I knew very little about like the logistics of creating comics, and I've had to. I've kind of try my best to kind of spearhead that since John's doing the art. So like I try and run the Kickstarters and write all the copy for the Kickstarters or most of it. And then, set up printing and logistics. And then I started doing the lettering in the books as well. So that was a whole brand new thing to learn. And I've actually started doing, I've got like 2 other books that I'm lettering right now as well. So
nice.
I started getting into that. And it is it's something I enjoy and is that is definitely new since starting the comic.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I know last time we were here, we talked about like how you would build like D&D worlds, right? And stuff like that. So, and I think I tried to be like, well, does it go back to like, because you work with your hands, you build things for a living. Does that play into any of this?
Definitely. I mean, like the skills I picked up in, running lots of D&D games definitely helped me kind of, put your brain in the right space to kind of create things. And, writing a book like this isn't terribly dissimilar to running a campaign. Like the characters, instead of being other people doing something, they're in your brain and they're doing something. You're like, okay, well, how would the world react to this? And, so some those skills definitely came into play.
All right. Awesome. So the Kickstarter, when does the Kickstarter, it's already on, it's going on now, right?
It is going on currently.
All right. And then when does the Kickstarter end?
September 16th.
September 16th. All right. I'll make sure I get a link to it and make sure I toss in my contribution as I would have for the second one if someone messaged me, but that's okay. And
you should have gotten an email from Kickstarter at some point.
I probably did. I have too many email addresses now. That's the problem.
Yeah, we'll double check that.
Yeah. We're gonna dig into the archives on that.
Yeah,
one.
we're not just taking this shit if we don't deserve it. Hell no. Even though we're on your show.
I love it. So I gotta ask, is anybody? Oh, what's the name of their spaceship?
The Aftosa.
The Aftosa. Is there anybody on the Aftosa that is musically inclined?
Woody probably is.
Yeah, Woody probably is. Woody's probably a big fan.
He traveled in his backstory. He traveled with the Galactic Dead for a while.
Has he ever been late for dinner? You see where I'm going with this?
I can guarantee you he's been late for dinner.
Yeah. He's definitely been
Has
late.
he ever written a 6-song EP from 2006-ish? Can we talk about this briefly? We have to talk about this briefly, right? Because today I received a Google Drive link to the 2006. Is the album called "I'm Late for Dinner"?
Well,
or is that the band?
The band was our band back in 2004. The band was called Hammered Ink.
Oh, I don't see any of that on this thing. I see the I'm Late for Dinner. That's what I see.
Yeah, well, so that was so basically we never really came out with like I think we eventually did come out with some sort of CD, and I don't remember what we called it, but like I would burn CDs to hand out to the rest of the band for like mixes and stuff. And I would write something random on each one. And so like I got one right here that says, just can't get rid of that damn Hammered Ink.
Now, John, are you in this band too?
Yes. Yeah.
He's the drummer. I'm the bassist.
Okay. So neither one of you were singing, right?
Nope.
Because I was like,
I did some light background vocals.
Okay. But I was like, who is this singing? I couldn't figure it out. And then, when we had the voice issue with John, I was like, oh, maybe it was John, He
just did the wrong microphone for a bit. That was our buddy Nick Bossio. But basically, I would write that shit on there, and I burned that CD when I was late for dinner. So I wrote "It's the Late for Dinner" EP.
Oh no!
One I got left.
I've got a "Damn We Sucked" in the beginning EP floating around somewhere.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, I gotta ask, like this. When's the last time either one of you listened to this thing?
Well, I listened to it today because I had to find it.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But before that, probably 5 or 6 years. I think when John brought us.
I'd say every couple of years or so, I run across one of our things. Like I just ran across a CD the other night, just looking through a box that was it was just a rough cut of all of our latest recordings. So it was like our full like 12 song set list, but no vocals on there.
Yeah.
So but it was neat hearing some tunes that I'd completely forgotten because that six song EP is the one that I've listened to most over the years.
You should send this with the comic, right? and for like a listening guide. Like, so I liked it. I'm not gonna lie to you, I liked it. It threw me off because like the first couple tracks reminded me of, I don't know if you guys know the band Wire. Do you remember Wire? No, they were like a 70s like post-punk band, and I was like, I like this, and then all of a sudden it was like Rocksteady. I'm like, whoa. And then we like finished with some ska punk. It was a pretty good what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, like a buffet of sounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even like
On your
that there was like that piano in the first track that was like ding, ding, ding. You know what I mean? I liked that too. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a good time. Like, I mean, we really, like, we were, in our early 20s, so we had plenty of time. I think we were practicing like 3 times a week and playing like almost immediately within like months of starting. When we barely had any songs, we were playing like 3 to 4 gigs a week for like a year and a half.
Do you guys still play music?
Not as much.
No, I've still got a drum kit up at Ben's house, and we've got his amps there. But yeah, it was easier when we were younger. We had nothing going on. It was the end of 2003, and the vocalist and the other guitarist like came up and they're like, "You're the drummer and bass player in our ska band." So we're okay, I wasn't even a fan of ska, so I felt a little out of place there.
And I didn't even have a bass.
yeah, that's true.
Like I played guitar for years, but like I was like, I don't even have a bass, and so I borrowed a friend's bass.
Yeah. No, that was cool. That was cool. I love how you go like, "Hey, we might have some songs for you," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah. Well, dude, I know you always end the episode with a song, so I was like, "Well, we were in a band, and I've got them sitting around here somewhere, so I'll ship those over."
Yeah, that's amazing. It's amazing.
It was an interesting dynamic too, because the lead singer, Nick, took it very seriously. And I was almost resentful with how serious he took it. So like I tried to be as stupid and goofy as I could.
Yeah, in so much
kind of spite him to a degree. But
like he wrote a song. One of those was called like "Live," and I think Ben, you took it as kind of pretentious. So then they changed.
Yeah, it was also because I wrote the guitar licks and I wrote the music for that one, and then he wrote words to it and he called it "Live," and I was like, yeah, how about we call it "Live and Eat Poop," and he did not like that.
No,
that's the name of it though.
Yeah, it is, because I have control over those things now.
It says "Live and Eat Poop" right here. All right, so
yeah,
so there's no reunion show happening, is what you're telling me.
No, I mean, well, no, we're on good terms.
I would totally do it. I would
fully do a reunion
100%
show.
do it.
Dude, I will promote the shit out of it for you. Like, I really would. Like, yeah.
It wasn't bad blood. It was just like, he was more serious than I was. Like, I wanted to be a little goofy. Like I never really liked the name of the band, Hammered Ink.
Yeah, me either. We tried to change that, and it did not go over well. So we're like, all right, it's not worth the fight.
I wanted to call the band the Scottistics. And
I like that though.
But
for a ska band, the ska band is just a lot of bands did that. Like you just put ska in the name and make it something. And I like it. I like the Scottistics. Yeah.
But as a sign of like silent protest, I played every single show in a stupid costume, so he could be as serious as he wanted. But I'd be up there dressed as the Shredder or a hamburger.
Big Mac, yeah.
But for every single show, I had a different costume on.
That's amazing. That must have got expensive.
Well, most of them were just old, shitty, reused. Like one of them, I went as a construction worker and just wore my tool bags and work clothes. And was like, fuck it. I guess this is a costume. Got to put stuff together.
That's awesome.
It was a real good time. I mean, and maybe I'm overstating my importance, but I went to college so we were together for 1 year, like almost exactly 1 year from like starting to jam to we're done. And I think in that year we played 54 shows.
Mm-hmm.
We played a lot.
Yeah.
It was a good year. It was a real fun year.
Awesome. And like you got that just goes to show that you guys have been creating stuff together for a long time, like we had said.
Oh yeah.
So that's awesome. All right. So where can people find you guys on social media? John, you're not running the Instagram, are you?
Yeah.
There's an Instagram?
Yeah,
What are you
yeah.
talking about?
I say that because I remember Ben, you ran the Twitter back when there was a Twitter, right, for Geek Exploration.
Yeah, I still do. It's still there.
Yeah,
It's just kind of
and
you know.
the Twitter was way more active than the Instagram was. I remember. So
Yeah, the Instagram. I mean, it was hard to
I know. Trust me.
find content. You know, the easy one was the episode art. Whenever we had a new episode drop, you know, like throw on the piece of art and then the process video.
Well, that's why I thought you were active. That's why I always thought you were active, and I'd go on, I'd send you a message, and I wouldn't get it back for like 6 months.
Oh,
yeah,
shit. Yeah, no.
Hey, this was 4 years ago, John. It's okay. It's
my personal Instagram is the one that's always stayed more active.
there. You go. All right. So for Space Oddities, what do we have? What do we have for social links and websites for Space Oddities?
Well, there's spaceodditiescomic.com and then there's the Space Oddities Twitters, which is Space Oddities Comic, I think, or Space Oddities Co. because it's comic was too long.
Okay.
And then the Kickstarter, and that's about it. Like we're not on TikTok, though I've been told we should be, but I
don't have a Facebook page for it.
Yeah. I mean, Facebook is.
I hate social media. I don't want to be on any of it.
Me too. And
It's the worst.
You got someone that runs yours, though, don't you?
Yeah. We share duties. I've been getting a little more active, just because like I need to learn how to make graphics and shit. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I've been kind of getting it, but it was he does a really good job. Chris does a really good job, and like right now he's unable to do it. So like I'm like, man, this is a lot of work. How does this guy do this? Like, you know,
And it's not fun work either.
no, it's not fun at all. I do enjoy, I will say, like I started, so for episodes I don't have video for, I've been making like clips with like a graphic and just sound. Like I'll go into like Canva and I'll make like this animated graphic with like pictures of them and stuff. And that's kind of fun, you know? Because like getting the audio, I really do enjoy doing like audio stuff. So getting the audio together and then lining it up so the picture drops right when they're talking about something. There's just something about that I like. But
Yeah.
you know, but we just started
You can be a little creative still.
yeah, we just started a new episode type for the struggling artists called Underground Noise, which is like MTV News, but like for like the smaller bands, you know, and it literally took me 8 hours to put together 5 minutes. So yeah, so unless people tell me they like it, I'm not going to be doing that often. But if people are listening, then I'll take the time, because I mean, you know, I've got the time to do it. So but yeah, it's like I really enjoyed it. I was very proud of it. It just dropped on Friday, actually. So but yeah, sorry. Anyway, sorry, I sidetracked us yet again. All right, so Space Oddities is on Instagram. They are on Twitter, X thingy, and then you have a website as well.
And I think if you're looking on Instagram, it would probably be more advantageous to go to my personal Instagram, which is at Beefy McStudley. That's where I'll be putting updates out.
I would never suspect your name to be that. That's a lot of fun. That's a fun name. That's awesome. Not that you're not fun. You just like Superman. So I mean,
I'm just not Beefy or McStudley.
No, it wasn't that at all. It's not that at all. It's not that. I don't know why.
I'm not even Scottish.
I thought it was going to say like John Williams Art or something. You know what I mean? And when you came out with Beefy McStudley, I was like, holy shit.
Honestly, it was just my old Xbox gamer tag. It was fun when I first made my Instagram, and then there came a point where I really thought about, like, should I change it to John Williams Art? And I was like, well, there's nobody that knows me by that on Instagram. Like, people don't know that my name is John Williams. So instead, I just capitalized and started trying to make little pieces of art that played with the Beefy name.
That's nice. Do you like sign it Beefy McStudley too? Like on the
No, I still sign with my normal name, but I've got a line of mini prints called Little Beefies, which is just like super buff cartoony versions of
that's awesome.
Of characters.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Is there anywhere, so if someone wanted to buy like a sketch or something of yours or anything? Is there anywhere where people can go and buy that or no?
They could just send me a message on Instagram. I am active on that personal one. Or they can email. Geez, I don't know if I should just put my I don't. I guess I don't have a business email. They can hit you on. They'll hit you on Instagram. Instagram is the best place to go because that thing is purely for my art. I don't post pictures of my kid on Instagram. That one's just art focused. So yeah, go look on there, see if there's something you like. I do commissions all the time. I do blank sketch covers. That's probably mostly what I do as far as commissions go.
Nice.
But, yeah.
All right. Well, I'll make sure the link is in the Kickstarter. Everyone should go check out what Space Oddities is. Can they buy back issues?
Yeah. On our website, you can buy
right on.
Like actual print issues if you want, or if you go on. We generally point people towards drive-through comics. Right now, issue 1 is only $1. It's 40 pages. So if you're interested, for digital. Yeah, if you're interested in getting in, if you're, say I'll check it out before you plunk down more money for the Kickstarter. Feel free to go check out issue 1 and see if it's your thing.
Cool.
And then, like I said, print issues you can get through our website.
Now, when you guys do this, do you have to print X amount? Like with record pressing, right? You can get just one, but it's going to cost more than if you get, you know what I mean?
No, yeah,
same thing, works same way.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think we printed a bunch. We still have copies of issues 1 and 2. They are getting thin though, so like it would be cool at some point when we have to do a second print run. It'll be exciting, but
yeah, that'd be cool.
I've got a big box of them sitting in my garage right now. I'm
telling you, if you mail some of those CDs with them,
that'll really move them.
Oh man, guys, this was so much fun getting caught up and talking about this. For issue 4, come back. Don't blow me off till issue 5, and even if you guys have something else going on, hit me up. Let's do this again. Is Geek Exploration? Is there any episodes in the tank or anything with that right now, or no movement at the moment?
We put one out about when we went and saw Deadpool Wolverine. We put one out about that and a couple other things.
Oh shit! How did I miss that? I'll have to go back and look.
That was fairly recent. Otherwise, we'll do something here. Like we should do something this month. We're on everybody else's podcast. We should probably do one of our own.
Yeah. You should.
We really haven't. We haven't released anything on our feed. Okay, yeah. Next time I come up, we'll do something. And
definitely check out Gate Leapers, which John and Ben are both cast members of. I listened to, I think I listened to both of yours, like the solo episode stuff with Matt. And it was really good. It was really good. Yeah, I had a good time.
Like the get to know the cast.
Yeah, I liked that. I like that.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Cool format.
I have a new goal is I want to become a cast member of Gate Leapers, so I got to work on that, So get brought up on some of my pop culture things. But
yeah, how's your game show going? You got one coming out.
Oh man, yeah. Someone's gonna do like a soundscape all I have to do. It's been recorded. And then I took the story that they wrote and I read it, but the first time I read it like as I was like for the first time, you know what I mean? But I read it out loud, and that's on the show. Yeah. But then I wanted to read it not quote unquote professionally, and one of the guests is making a soundscape for it to put under it. Yeah, so that it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a minute. That's all right. We got plenty of struggling artist stuff, but that is coming at some point. It'll be a lot of fun. Yeah. I'm hoping sometime this fall. Cool. Maybe we can get it out there to people. But it was a lot of fun. It was hard for me because like I always want to be involved, and I was like, I need to just drive this though. I don't need to be a contestant as well. As much as I want to work with every artist that I had on that first episode, I was like, no, I gotta be the host. You know what I mean? So, and I think what the show is like like the guts of it, like the underlying part of it, like that is, it kind of fleshed itself out in that episode. So there was like yeah, we'll talk about, I don't want to give that away, so we'll talk about that when I hang up here, but or not hang up, but click this off. But anyway, yeah, we're busy, and I'm glad to see you guys out there doing things still creatively, and hearing your voice on Gate Leapers always brings a smile to my face. So you guys keep doing what you're doing, and yeah. Let's see what we can get for the last week of the Kickstarter. Maybe we can get you an uptick in people.
Hell yeah. Go back. Space Oddities number 3.
There we go. All right, guys. All right, and that's the show. I want to thank Ben and John again for being today's guests on the Struggling Artist Podcast. In the show notes, you will find links to the Kickstarter for Space Oddities 3. Go support them. Thank you to Chris Chavez for being producer of the Struggling Artist Podcast. Thank you to State Line Records for sponsoring the podcast. Thank you to all our other sponsors. If you go to the strugglingartistpodcast.com, check out our sponsors, see what they have going on. Check out and support them as well. Support everybody, each and every one of you. Thank you to people at Patreon supporting us. If you want to become a patron, head to patreon.com/podcasttsa. Check out what we have going on over there. Struggling Artist Radio, Struggling Artist Companion, early access to the Struggling Artist Podcast, and a whole lot more. Again, patreon.com/podcasttsa. Thank you to everybody who listens and shares and reaches out about the show. You all stick with us every week, and thank you to everyone who participated in the voicemails. For Chris, I know he appreciated them. That's what community is all about, us banding together and getting something done. Chris is hopefully back soon. And and when he gets back, we will welcome him with open arms once again. All right, it's time to get out of here with a song. The song is called Andrea's Song. This is off of the I'm Late for Dinner EP by Hammered Inc., a band that's no longer. Until next week, take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you then.
Touch me, she made love to me, yeah.